did you decide on which game you wanted to run after Star Wars?
I'm gonna do
Star Wars
Worlds
may
of
not
Power.
happen, so don't get too set on Star Wars.
You're still against it?
Yes.
Or whatever
I-
Mike wants to run. Yeah.
I hate it so badly I haven't picked up the books again.
I've been listening
It
to a
scarred you
Star
that
Wars
badly.
game, and I really want to at least play in one because from what I listened to, it sounded great. Like,
Tell me which ones
I
you're
was gonna
listening
say,
to because
probably give
none of the
him
ones I've listened
the
to,
recording that you listen to, because he's so against it.
like none of them feel like Star Wars to me.
I was gonna say,
I mean, a
run
lot of
whatever
that-
you want to run. I'll play. So.
but I feel like that a lot of that has to do with you playing it, though, right? Like, I think I don't know.
The rules definitely made it. The rules set the tone, I would say, because Mike knows Star Wars and he knows,
It
what's
felt
involved
like
in getting that feel, and the rules did not correspond with what he was doing as the DM.
no, and it felt more like you guys were on a Shadowrun than
Yeah, it felt more like Firefly than
Yeah.
Star Wars,
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to it, and
which is fine if you're looking to play Firefly.
right.
But
Yeah, I mean they're playing and they've switched over. They keep switching over when the new ones came out because they wanted to play a little bit of each. And they did it organically, like scrappers that got pulled into the military when everything went down, and then then they all became Jedi.
and I thought you were
No. Like
I know what you mean.
like when the next book came out, they
Yeah.
switched
Yeah.
over to Jedi type of thing.
And-
Because I thought your idea was really cool
Which one?
about starting off as the stormtroopers,
The ARC
and
Troopers?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then I thought about that would be an awesome Star Wars type story, and then the rules wouldn't lend itself to that feeling
Yeah, could you
so
get
much.
the rules
Yeah.
to do it though?
It would take a lot of work. A lot of work.
I also did not make any attempts to look at the Star Wars Dungeon World variant.
I didn't either.
So I have no idea how that works or what it likes, but so I couldn't tell you if that would be a better option or not.
I mean, if
But really, like I said,
honestly,
run whatever
if
world
I
you want to run.
sit down and go through the rule book and because the rules just felt clunky. It didn't feel
We were all still new to it. Even
well,
you were. So.
right.
Right.
But it didn't it felt like there was something missing. Like there was something that wasn't there that I was looking for. That was just like
It didn't capture that high adventure kind
Right.
of feel that Star Wars has.
Which
even
is-
if you're a gunslinger like Han, there was still a certain feel to it.
right.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they were going for Edge of the Empire. I mean, it's
Right.
even there in the name. Like you're a fringe character.
Right.
I mean, I think you've read more of the books than anybody else here, I think. But at least my impression of it, the module is what made it feel off. Not so much the rules, because you can get
Yeah.
used to figuring out
can-
what the dice roll.
right.
But, that module was god awful.
What that module was doing is trying to take all the fringe stuff out of the movies and put it in one module.
Yeah, but they didn't do that. They sent you
Right.
on. They had you shoot up a bar,
Yeah.
go on a fetch quest, and then steal somebody's ship. And
Well, no, the fetch quest was me because I
Needed something
I
for us
needed
to
an
do.
out and it was kind of having the Jedi there complicated it because
We didn't even do shit.
but there's a moral ground that they're supposed to be on, and every choice that you had interacting with him was kind of an intimidation thing, and that's not exactly a Jedi thing. There are points where you will intimidate people, but not that guy.
Right.
That guy's a nobody.
so you're saying we should have murdered the old man for the jump part.
If we were playing Firefly, yeah.
Yeah.
Gone in, give me the part. Okay, here you go.
Right.
And I think that's even an option to just go in and straight up steal it. But
That in itself, is not Star Wars at all, because you have stories of people, stealing important shit, like Death Star plans and all that. But like,
Right, see, and that's what I'm like,
And
afraid
Han was
of.
a smuggler
yeah,
and
like,
a thief.
I'm going to go steal like an inconsequential part from some guy who sold it.
And like, I still don't understand why he had enough money on his ship to buy the part, but he was.
Yeah.
Not even said that.
And like you said, like stealing plans to the Death Star, high adventure. Like
Shaking down a
breaking
guy
and
for a
entering and shaking down
carburetor.
an old man for a carburetor. It's like, I'm going to be a pickpocket. Like, no.
I think it just, like I said, I think it just came down to the modular. That's all.
Yeah.
And
A lot of times, especially I feel like with Star Wars, with when we start on a new system, and it's sometimes hard because it's a completely foreign system. It would be smarter to start with something like mid-level or high-level. You know what I mean? So you're not dealing with you're pickpacking a carburetor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, hey, we need to go back to.
Well, in that
Hoth
case, it was just
because
the poorly written
yeah.
module.
Yeah. But like at the same time, I think Star Wars is kind of about the journey to being a hero.
Yeah.
No,
But
I
like
agree.
Yeah.
at the same time, like Luke went from moisture farmer to I'm going to raid the Death Star and rescue the princess. There wasn't any in between really.
Right,
Right.
but the problem that I see with Edge of the Empire anyway, and this is where I would have to go, you know what? It's going this way. I've got to take it this way. There is nothing heroic about that.
Right. You're not on
You're-
a hero's journey
Right.
to become a legend.
You're on a struggle to survive. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You may be caught in the galactic conflict, but you're in a struggle to survive. Yeah.
What with Edge?
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like there was this D&D campaign world called Midnight. And the premise was, kind of like Lord of the Rings, like Sauron. Yeah. Imagine if Sauron recovered the ring and won, and basically became a god. And the good gods didn't know what to do with him because they couldn't stop him any longer. So they sealed him on the material plane. They sealed him on this planet. And at that point, he just won. He conquered everything. Spirits couldn't possess the rest of their afterlife. It didn't matter what you did. Everything was locked in this world with evil. And he had these things that were kind of like ring race that sniffed out anybody using magic and killed them. And they tell you right at the beginning of the book, the PCs cannot fix this problem. You just survive in the world as long as you can. It's like, well, it's a cool concept, but that sounds like it would suck to play because
Yeah.
you're
Like,
never
you have
going to
no
be a
hope.
hero.
Right.
There's no hope. There's nothing there. It's just going to be, this world sucks, and how long do you want to endure the suckiness? Oh, forever, because your spirit can't leave when you
right.
die.
I mean, that world wouldn't really, I think, lend itself to a game at all.
One
like,
shots.
like, what's-
Not a campaign. Like, if you want to do one shots in
I
it.
mean, like if you made it as a campaign, then
Then what would you do?
you would
right.
you would have
There's
to
no end game.
you would
There's-
have to like fudge the settings so that you can win.
Right.
Because there's like what else is
But then
what
what's-
else even is there in that world?
But then
Right.
what's the point of playing in that setting if you have to change it so completely that it's not really that setting
so
anymore?
then it's a bad setting.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And that's kind of how, like, I was feeling with Edge. Like, there's no, like you guys said, there's no heroic journey. It's just, hey, I've got to do this to survive.
Right.
There's a module that they put out called I think it's the Jewel of Yavin. The way they describe it, I'm like, this is not Star Wars.
Right.
It's like Ocean's 11. And I'm like, well, that's not Star Wars. Not
Yeah.
really.
Now,
are any of the Edge of the Empire ones a little bit more Star Warsy?
That was an Edge of the Empire one. You're stealing a jewel.
And all
Yeah.
the ones I've read about, the Force and Destiny one is all like you're still in hiding. You're trying to still,
But you do have your secret Jedi temple.
well, you're
Yeah.
you're trying to find the other like temples across the galaxy, and you're still trying to. Keep
And like
yourself
that may be
under-
the most Star Wars one of them all, where you're trying to rebuild the Jedi Order.
Sorry, one second.
well, in that case, at least you can be the hero that reunites the
Exactly.
Order. So,
But then you're kind of displacing Luke,
right.
sort of. But
Well, and that's the
And,
other
I mean,
problem with using properties based on film and that type
Right.
of stuff. It's like you could play in the Lord of the Rings role playing game, but
You're not
Frodo
gonna
destroys
destroy-
the
right.
I was
ring.
gonna say
Yeah.
that will be better than Gandalf. Aragorn will still eventually become king.
Legolas
Right
will
now.
be the best archer in the world. Like,
And Gimli, the best, melee fighter.
I mean, like at the same time, like Star Wars should be a big enough setting that you can have those other stories.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
They
when
can't. I don't know why they can't. do it.
I think that's what
Like I don't think it would work in Lord of the Rings because
There's meant to be one evil that.
Yeah.
yeah.
and like Middle Earth itself, it's big, but it's also very self-contained. Like
Yeah.
you have the
Right.
continent, and that's it. Like nobody, you're not unless you're gonna go sail off into the.
right, but
Into
Luke
the Undying
Yeah.
Lands, yeah.
destroys the ultimate power in the galaxy.
Right.
He, like, without him, galaxy turns to shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And really, the best you could hope for is to be like the team that stops a general who is going to send
Right.
reinforcements that would cause them to lose, or something
Right.
along those
Something
lines.
along those
And
lines.
that's what we were talking about. Is even after the Emperor falls, like there is still so many of those governors.
Right, there's
and
still the
everything
Imper-
across
but-
the galaxy.
Again, that's not the setting they're placing them in.
Yeah.
Right. The
So-
setting is like, you need to eat this week. How are you getting money?
Right. Or you're a part of the rebellion. What are you doing?
Right.
So you can only go so far to like,
I'm refueling
has-
starfighters.
has Luke blown up the Death Star yet? Like, did that happen yet?
Yeah. No. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna keep pushing this box around the hangar.
I'll keep waving my glow sticks.
Yeah.
I'm waxing the X-wings so they
I'm the
fly
guy that
faster.
cleared Luke Skywalker for launch.
That was you.
That was you?
Hey, I was the guy sitting in that pod watching the X-wings fly
I was the
away.
guy working the vacuum tube that took R2 out.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh.
Can I get your autograph?
And that's why I said, when we started the Forgotten Realms game, that right off the bat we should agree that none of the characters from the books
Yeah.
exist in the world.
Right.
But at least with that, it's a little bit easier to.
It's a little easier to extract
because
that
not
stuff.
a lot
yeah.
of us knew. Like I knew nothing about that, so pretty much it's just.
But
Fantasy
even
world.
even if we knew everything about Forgotten Realms, you could still pull all that out, and the world would still be the same.
Right.
Right. The
Forgotten
world
Realms is
still
still
works on
huge.
its own. It's
Right.
still huge.
You pull out any one of the major characters of Star Wars, and it falls to without Leia, falls to shit. Without Han, falls to shit because the first Death Star never gets destroyed.
Right.
Even without Chewie, it was not like a major character.
Well, same thing with Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Exactly.
Take any of the 9 out.
You take any of them out, then it falls to pieces. If you take out, Legolas or Gimli or Aragorn, then Helm's Deep falls.
Yeah.
If you take Sam out, Frodo doesn't make it to the top of the volcano. If you take Gollum out,
Does Frodo even go?
right? Yeah,
He ends up with the ring, and then Sauron finds him, and then there you go. the end.
right. He raids the Shire. There it is. Bam. Story over.
So,
Sorry.
I just think there's
I think it's more along the storytelling, and we all trust you when it comes to that. We all know
What?
you know enough about the Star Wars.
But
world.
that's the problem I run into. I can't pull any of them out to make
it's Star Wars.
you guys more heroic. Like I can
Right.
like you're never there's always going to be a better than.
Yeah, 'cause I know what you mean. Because when I run a game, I never want the PCs to be the B team.
Right, there's
You know, I
always
want them to be
going to be
the
someone
heroes.
overshadowing you.
Right.
Like you will always know, okay, Luke's going to destroy the Death Star. Luke's going to defeat Vader.
But that doesn't. I mean, I to a degree, I feel like, and I'm not trying to be the argumentative person here, but I think that's semi bunk. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. Like, you could play a game when, yeah, it's semi Star Wars, but where that fight where he's like, "I am your father," and instead of lopping off his hand, he lops off Luke's head. You know what I mean? And then you go from that.
And then somebody else has to step up and stop him.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You without pulling them out, you guys can't be that overarching hero. And once we pull them out,
In that case,
the
we don't
world
become our own
changes.
hero. We just become Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean?
See, I mean, I played Galaxies for so long, and they had some awesome stories where, yeah, Luke and them were still around, but like,
Right, but nothing you did ever changed the story.
yeah, I mean, but any IP you're gonna deal with, like he was saying with the Lord of the Rings stuff, Frodo was always gonna be the one to throw it in Mount Doom.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
But that's my point.
I get what you're saying. I just,
So I guess the best you could kind of do is, after Luke, does his thing and the Empire falls, then you try and stop the next person from filling the power vacuum,
Right.
type of thing.
And then again, that's not the setting. I'm taking it to a different setting. That's what I'm trying to say. Like within that setting, I don't see a way to make you the heroes.
Oh, see, but
Yeah.
I think you're thinking on like. See, I don't know. I played.
You can I'm saying you can be heroic, but there's always going to be the fact that there's others that did this, and
Right, even if you
kind
stop,
of what you do isn't really gonna matter.
even if you're the one who stops the next person from, you're still not the one who broke it apart in the first
Right.
place and
Yeah.
come crashing down.
No, nobody cares about that guy in the A-wing that crashed into the Super Star Destroyer that killed him.
Right,
Because even though that was a huge part of that battle, it all came down to what Luke and Vader did.
right.
I don't know. I played, and now this is old Star Wars game where it was like the D6 game, and it was so fun, like, and it felt like Star Wars. And yeah, granted, you weren't torpedoing the Death Star, but we played the time between Battle of Yavin and second Death Star. Like, it was all the setup of, hey, they might have a second one. We don't fully know. Our team was to try to figure that out. You know what I mean? And it was so good. And then, yeah, you're not in the grand scheme of, like, you're not the one who is blowing up the Death Star, or I don't know. I just
Like I said, there are definitely things that you can do to be heroic, but you're always gonna. I don't like having the characters be overshadowed by something, and in this instance, it's always going to be overshadowed by something.
It's kind of like saying, do you want to be Batman or do you want to be Robin?
Kind of.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you had a nice idea though, as opposed to like when Vader, takes down Obi-Wan on the original Death Star, the first one, as opposed to letting the Millennium Falcon go. He, I don't know, force grabs it, pulls it back in, destroys it, and then starts from that point.
Right, but
But
see,
then you're just changing the universe.
exactly, that's my point.
Yeah.
You have to completely throw out the setting.
I
Which I'm not
I don't think you're
opposed-
throwing out the setting. I think you're throwing
How
out that
aren't you?
story.
You're completely rewriting the first half of the last half of the movie. Everything that Luke, Han, Leia, and Chewie did no longer exists.
Oh yeah, but I mean, we do that.
So
with-
you've completely changed the universe.
I think that
I don't know about change the universe.
sense,
How
it's
can you
kind of
say you don't change the universe when the principal characters, the principal actors don't get to act?
But
Well,
we're not
think
talking
about
about a movie. We're talking about a game. That's like we're playing Forgotten Realms.
We're
Elminster
talking
is
about
never
a
gonna-
game based on a
Oh, no.
series of movies.
I fully
The-
agree with
that's
you.
even
the
Yeah.
difference, I think, is...
that's
Go ahead.
no, that's what Cliff did with the DC universe. Ultimately, yeah, he Batman was still there. That's great, and he was there still doing stuff, but he rewrote how the villains interacted.
Sorry, I
with
just
the-
farted a
the
little.
Nova bomb. He rewrote exactly
did it
how
again.
Superman would have reacted.
Do you?
Sorry.
But do you realize that you're arguing my point? Everything you're saying is change the setting.
Okay, change it.
No, I think we're saying change the
But
characters.
my-
The
my-
setting doesn't change. Yavin
thing
is still a gassy planet, and it has.
Yeah,
like-
in a sense, Gotham was still there. Arkham was where all the villains.
My
Okay,
thing
the
is-
setting to me is all of the events, the whole entire universe in the movies. You change any one thing, you've changed the
The
setting.
movies are character-driven, not plot-driven. That's how I view it. It's like you do.
Because all you really, like, when you watch the movies, you don't get detailed background on the planets themselves. It's like, we're at Hoth and it looks
Yeah.
snowy. Like,
Like,
that's what you get.
all the
And
stuff that happens in between the characters,
That's why you can't add that in. 'Cause you
being
can't.
on screen was
And
either born in
I'm
books or
snowy.
games or whatever.
I get what you're saying too.
I also kind of think you just run the risk of just substituting your characters in for those characters.
Exactly.
Yeah. And in which case, you're not your own hero. It's like, Luke Skywalker's dead. Good thing Duke Skywalker saved the universe. You know?
At that point,
That's
you
Duke
just
Groundrunner.
Yeah.
You change what
Duke Skytreader.
ultimately- but you would end up changing what would ultimately happen now, because
Right.
as opposed to Vader being there trying to change Luke over.
That's my point.
But that's what we're saying. Originally, that's exactly what
But he's
Cliff
saying
had
that
to do.
that's not what he wants to do.
Oh, so
Right.
you wanna- okay. So,
Like
Yeah.
that's what the whole point is. Like if he can't do what he wants to do with the system, he doesn't want to run it.
Right, like
Right.
that's.
I don't know.
Then you got to make that decision and let us.
I would love to play in a Star Wars game, even if it's once. Like, I've had some of my best memories were from a Star Wars game, and I get what you're saying.
It was a little bit different when you ran yours too. You ran yours in the
Old Republic.
Old
The Old
Republic,
Republic,
and
yes.
and very few of us know what
Yeah,
that background is.
and I mean, granted,
Yeah.
that's why MMOs and stuff are either put like, the Galaxies was different, but Old Republic they can do for the most part anything.
Exactly.
I always
because-
felt kind of bad playing this game because, okay, I'm a Jedi, but I know in a couple months I'm gonna be dead with all my friends. You know.
But I mean, the neat thing is though they've done one Order 66 seems very very exact in the movies,
Mhm.
but when you like read a lot of the extra stuff, they're like, and then this guy was found, and then this
Right.
guy was.
That's what
Yeah.
bothers him so much about it. Is that
Yeah.
originally it should have just been Yoda and Obi-Wan. The end.
Yeah.
So
But when you go back over it, it's like, oh, they just showed us the successful attacks, not the hundreds of unsuccessful
It would
ones.
be like Order 66 killed like 2 guys, and all the other Jedi are still out there like throwing a party or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think I looked it up once. It was like 2 pages of hidden people that through books, games, and everything else
Yeah.
from that people wrote. It was just okay. Like I can understand a small handful, like maybe 10, not like
I would even go as high as like 50, scattered throughout a galaxy.
like 250 on
Yeah,
that
it's-
2 sheets.
It's all part of what I've always said is that George Lucas has no idea how big a galaxy actually is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's 12 parsecs long.
Really, George? Really? How long is a parsec, George?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would the one thing when we got into it, you were like, oh, the classes were very similar. I feel like they're similar, but the more I looked into them, like mechanically, and this is getting up higher in level, they do feel quite like I could justify the 2 books.
Smuggler and Pilot are exactly the same. Exactly.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
I'll go pull the books. I
Go
don't
pull
feel
them.
All right. I'll give me a second. Now I'm gonna go pull them, and then let's play the actual game we're supposed to be playing.
Oh, we're never gonna finish
No.
this. We're not even halfway
We
through.
still have to catch.
Well, it's funny because Cliff had an interesting idea when he ran his Shadowrun campaign, and that everybody started off as police, and then they were framed for corruption and had to become Shadowrunners, and then kind of like solve the mystery of what happened to them, type of thing. I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd actually a longer Shadowrun game where we can actually like, put thought and backstory into our characters.
Yeah.
'Cause
I actually really like how the mage works in this one.
of course you do.
Well, my favorite ones were like.
And I like how the Paladin works. Oh, wait. No,
But the
I like how the monk works.
yeah.
Dungeon World, I think it was a little bit more clunky than I'm used
Yeah.
to.
I'm gonna look it up.
Well, you can only look at one book
I
at
was
a
gonna say,
time.
open them both at the same time. And
Yeah,
just
go
go
right
to
to
town.
Pilot and Smuggler. I don't know. I just want to keep playing my Outlaw Tech because he was better than the Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Jedi really sucked.
My gun for hire
really,
was pretty good.
There's
Okay, now look-
nothing better than a good blaster.
I was really mad about that. Like me and
What?
freaking Cliff couldn't do shit as Jedi.
What am I looking up?
Smuggler
The
and Pilot.
the
Pilot.
Ace Pilot.
Maybe we built them wrong, but they were just lame.
No, it
There were some contradictory rules in there.
right.
Too, that were
Yeah,
kind of biting you.
one like
The lightsaber
They
did 2
didn't-
different damage.
right. They
Yeah.
don't. You're supposed to have the lightsaber skill, which doesn't exist. It well, sort of doesn't exist in Edge.
They
but
say it
does.
doesn't, but you just
You
add
just
it.
add it in. Yeah.
All right, can I check it?
Full throttle.
No, okay, yeah, but that's like saying feats. I get that. I'm saying, all right, can I see it?
That's what I was talking about, though.
Oh, okay.
The,
It's
the
not
tree, the trees are the same. So
the entire tree.
What's your bottom line?
Bottom line: Master Pilot dedication,
Station toughened and brilliant evasion.
Okay, cool. No, let me see, because
So if you were playing a smuggler and I was playing an ace pilot, we could make
Do
the
the same
exact
thing.
same characters.
yeah,
doing the exact same
I
thing.
guess these are
There should be a little bit more of a difference between the two. Yeah.
no. Okay, I give you that. Now, like the career skills, like this stuff has changed. I would say they have the same feats. You know what I mean? But it's not it's not a perfect 1-for-1.
Not perfectly, but like they're gonna play nearly identical.
And they're gonna
Yeah.
play similar, but a lot of it comes like we've played so many story games lately that like I can't justify saying like, okay, because this part of the mechanics is similar to the Ace, a smuggler and a rogue squadron pilot is going to play differently because of what you put into it. And yeah, granted, does it need to be 3 books? No, I don't think so. But
That was my point. Was the argument of the mechanics, not how you play it, how you role play it. The mechanics. They're mechanically identical.
You think that the role
the feats part of it is mechanically identical. Everything else on that list was different.
What do you mean everything else?
Just
You mean-
the skills that each of them got. The where was it?
But that's just from the style of gameplay. Like this wants you to do like the Firefly Shadowrun. That is looking for more like squad-based tactical.
Military.
So a group in that is obviously going to play differently than that, but that's because the game is going to be playing different. Like the story is supposed to. Be
Yeah,
different.
and I get that, and like, it's hard because what this is doing is, this is Han and Chewie book.
Right.
This is the Leia
Luke
book,
and Leia book.
and then the other is
And then that's later Luke book.
yeah,
Right.
but
Early Luke and later Luke.
Right.
Other book.
but
I mean, they're on the cover.
What,
Yeah.
what I read of it is just awful.
I don't know. And maybe I want a good I like the Star Wars systems. I haven't played this one fully. You know what I mean? But the amount of information they have in it, like of stuff, of places, of feeling, and I feel like the Age of the Rebellion book does the feeling better than Edge of Empire because this.
Oh, definitely. Like
They don't. I mean, the movies don't really delve
Exactly.
into this section.
again, my point.
I didn't say your point was wrong.
I'm just saying that's the basis of my point.
The closest you get to Edge of the Empire in the movies is the third one with Jabba the Hutt. That's really it.
And I think a
Yeah.
lot of it comes down to, like, they say, like, the expanded universe, it's funny because this still explains the expanded universe, does more of these type of stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I still feel like I would love to be a part of one of these games.
I wouldn't mind playing it again at all.
Yeah.
But
And it could very well, I mean, most times, back of the book RPGs are crap. Really, I mean, I feel like we had this conversation a long, long time ago. Written books, like, I like them to a degree, but there's, like, you might hate the main, like, Save the Princess. Well, the princess, she reads like a jerk. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to, you know what I mean? And, like, maybe we have to rescue her. I mean, in this game, in Shadowrun, it might be because of money, or, you know, like, but at some point, we're going to be like, well, let's kill her. Like, I don't know. I don't want to give up on a Star Wars game, and it sucks because, like, the D20 system, it was just D&D with, like, a Star Wars overlay, which is still fun. Like, we had fun playing it, but, like,
You just cross out crossbow and write blaster in. And,
yeah. And some of the things, now, like I said, I have not actually played it, but the things I've read in here feel very Star Wars, which I know are different.
In Edge or Age?
I've read more of Age than Edge, but it just, like I said, the mindset behind, you know what I mean, like, and our group has sort of moved into the storytelling realm. Oh, you hit or you didn't hit. It's more, oh, you hit, but, you know, you're fumbling with the phone, and you're like, have a good day, bye, and they're gonna send stormtroopers down. You know what I mean? Like, that whole thing, like, I feel like the 90s was missing that of, like, game design. And nowadays, a lot of games are pushing really far into that. And so it's nice to see that crunchiness come back. Like, there's, like, a mixture of it. You know what I mean? And maybe these aren't a great version of it. Like, the symbols, we all tried the symbols the one time, and it was the word, like...
And then we ended up playing Fiasco.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, like, I want them to work. And it's hard, because of what you guys have said, I have not bought the third book.
Oh, I did.
And I want the third book.
You need to look at the, like, this is what I'm basing it off of. You want the feel of your game. If you're going to put out a beginner's box, that should be how you want your game to feel. The beginner's box for Edge of the Empire felt like Firefly.
But I feel like that's exactly what they're going for.
I know that. I said that.
No, I know.
But it doesn't feel Star Wars.
But that part of the galaxy that it's involving is probably built for that. It's built to play like that. It's not to delve into, and you know that.
I mean,
I said that.
is-
You're
right.
again saying my point. It doesn't feel Star Warsy. It doesn't feel heroically Star Wars. It feels like
Survivor's game.
exactly you're someone who just got off a Tatooine, which conveniently they put you on in the beginner's box.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
know.
I mean, there's like, even if you like write in character creation, it's like, why are you on the fringes? Like, did you piss someone off? Do you have a bounty on your head? Did you kill someone? Like, all that stuff. It's
Well, they have a lot of that in
They
there.
do, yeah.
And like that feels like Star Wars to me.
Not to me. Like that's.
It doesn't
I mean,
really
Han
to me
Solo-
because nobody really had any baggage
Yeah,
going
right.
in, even
Yeah,
Han
that's
Solo.
what
I mean, Han Solo did have like they don't deal with it as well as in the books, but like Jabba wanted him dead. You know what I mean? And like he had baggage, but it wasn't. They were like, "We'll pay for it later. Don't worry."
Right. He kind of solved it in 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Jabba wants you dead. Bang! Okay, well, I'm joining Luke in the rebellion now. That will never
Pretty
be heard
much.
from again.
yeah.
I mean that's the whole. He got frozen in carbonite and taken from like that was that whole.
Which didn't have anything to do with his backstory. Or
No,
Jabba
no,
the Hutt.
the Jabba.
No, no,
Jabba
no.
to some
That was the
extent.
reason.
Yeah.
That was well.
He was delivered that way back to Jabba. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it caught up with him.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I get where this is really good podcasting. Just for the record, like these type of discussions, I run another podcast. This is what we crave, but we only have 2 people, so there's less arguing.
I'm not trying to argue. We're just
No. I
You're debating.
don't
It's
mean
like an
argutive in the
actual-
pejorative.
Yeah.
I mean argue in the
debate.
aggressive.
Arguing in the debate sense.
They're
exactly.
having a conversation, not like, no, shut up, Rob.
Right.
Right.
I love how Rob hasn't said much. Shut up, Rob.
Well, I was looking at him, so.
Yeah, and I just
ultimately it does come down to you. How do you want to play it? So
Well, I know that, and like I said, I'm fine with diverging from the setting, but you have to know going in that's what's going to happen. Like, there are going to be things that don't happen and don't exist because,
and
yeah,
yeah, and I mean, and
it makes the universe a little tougher to live in because those like I said, if I pulled those characters out, it's a whole new world. Like,
Right.
I just think it's a world written by us more so than Lucas.
right.
And that's, I mean, but if you take the pillars of the world, and to me, okay, that's why Old Republic stories and way past the Battle of Yavin stories still work, because the pillars of the stories isn't Luke, Leia. I mean, they're not even mentioned. You know, like even the idea, the pillars of the stories are, okay, here are these worlds that we have a vague sense of. Here's magic works in this world because of this reason. You know, there's the Force. And you can do cool things like, okay, back in Old Republic, you can have many Sith. Until they were like, whoa, this is getting too rough. Let's prune our numbers. I don't know. I like the idea of, and this is I think where we do disagree. To you, the Star Wars is characters and the setting. I feel like I can go with the setting and not have to deal with the characters as much.
Right, but if you remove those characters, are you in the same setting? Are you still in the same universe?
I believe you are, but you.
How?
Okay, if you land on Tatooine, you know it's sandy. Luke didn't make it sandy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right, but is Jabba still there? Because Luke's not there, so he didn't kill Jabba.
That's fine. If you want, you're using
So-
characters that I'm just saying. Like,
Right, but you've already changed it.
but that's you're in a game. Like,
But you're
I get what you're
saying
saying. It's okay to change those things. but
You want to
yeah.
create a story that's
I'm very
still
okay
very loyal to
No,
the
but you're
destroying
saying-
anything.
you're
Nothing is a
saying,
sacred cow to me.
Here's the world.
Yes.
You can take the characters out of it, but you still have a whole world. No, you don't.
I said you have a different world. You don't have Lucas's world.
Right, but and like that's what I'm trying to say. Like we won't have that. There will be differences, and those differences are major enough that
I see.
like it would be like he said, it would be putting you into someone else's shoes.
I don't. I mean, if you play it that way, but I think if you wanted to go, starting with 4 or whatever, the way I would go about it is R2 and C-3PO, they were blown up. Okay, they never made it to Tatooine, and we'll run from it there. Luke is still there, but he doesn't meet Obi-Wan. Like, yeah, the world's gonna be different. Maybe the first Death Star doesn't get blown up, but Luke he's like, hey, I'm here, guys. I'm gonna try to help out. They were still going to attack the Death Star. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's things different.
No,
They wouldn't.
not without R2 and C-3PO. They don't have the plans.
Oh yeah, they're on the planet. That's fine.
And like if you're.
But I'm
looking-
just saying, like they
would
know that
still
there's.
have to figure out a way of getting either other plans.
Yeah,
finding
I'm
a
just
way of
saying,
taking it down. Their ultimate goal is to take the Emperor and the Empire
Down, yeah. I'm just saying,
Replace it back to
if you are trying to play Lucas's movies, you will never, unless you cast, okay, you're going to be Han. You're not going to come in until about 2 hours from when we start playing, so if you want to go get some snacks, okay, you're going to be Leia. You really don't do much. So, I'm just saying, like, it could be, I don't know.
I get to be Han.
Right. So
pointed at you
in your
for Leia.
in your scenario where R2 and C-3PO are blown up, who's getting the Death Star plans? The characters?
It doesn't matter. They don't even need to get it. The Death Star can be an awesome weapon that gets used on many, many planets. And then, oh wow, we need to take out the Death Star no matter what. We will throw thousands upon thousands of people at it, no
They don't-
matter what.
Keep going.
And because, wow, it's blown up a whole system of planets. Maybe the Empire, oh wow, there's more people who are afraid of the Empire now because they're going completely unruly. I'm just saying, you can diverge and it becomes your story. And yes, it is not Lucas'
And then maybe
story.
it falls on us to get the plans somehow,
Exactly.
break in, steal them, infiltrate, that type of thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
Han.
I'm just,
Right.
but you're
Which brings
bringing
us
back
back around.
Han. And
But
you don't have to.
you step into someone else's shoes.
Right.
You step into things that have been already done and established, and that.
or you could change it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be an
As
exhaust port.
opposed to well, even as something as simple as that, as opposed to
But ultimately, you're still left with there's the Death Star. It needs to be destroyed. Someone has to get the plans. Someone has to destroy it. You're still left with that.
That's even if you bring the Death Star into your game. I'm just saying the Death Star could be a system or a character
ship
almost.
or something.
Yeah,
just like a giant.
I'm just saying
Sorry.
like it doesn't have. In my gaming experience, nothing written. If it's like, I try to make nothing a sacred cow. Like if something, and if people want to deal with stuff, great. Like if we're playing a Star Wars game and you're like, I really want us to deal with the Death Star, then the Death Star is going to make an appearance. Who knows? We could say like, hey, the guy who did the Death Star, someone's like, there's an exhaust port problem, and then they scrap the entire idea. Yes, that's throwing out a big chunk of that section of the story. You know what I mean? But that's okay in my mind. And I agree with you in that if you want to play Lucas's Star Wars, you are going to fill shoes because it is a movie. It's 3 2-hour movies that 2-hour movies. It doesn't matter that
Yeah.
you're trying to hit certain story beats to get I feel like we'll just keep going back and forth with this. It really doesn't matter.
But then again, you also don't have to play around the time that you can say it's 1,000 years in the future, and come up with some kind of new
He doesn't
problem.
like
Or
that.
even just
No, I like that would be fine, but I'm talking about the settings they give you from the books.
Okay.
Right.
That's what you're given.
They don't give you that option in the book to say.
You don't have that option. You're playing the set pieces from the movie. So within that system, there's always going to be something overarching. And like I said, if we can play something sort of outside of that system, but then it's not that system to me.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. I feel like we both agree with each other more than we disagree with each other. But I just
I don't have I brought up the ARC Troopers.
Right.
I think that would be a cool idea. Would it be something that is in their setting? No, but we could do it. But given what they give you, you're always going to be inferior. Given the setting they give you, you have Luke, you have Han, you have Leia, you have the Death Star. There's always going to be something else that's better than.
And the classes themselves aren't designed to exceed those archetypes. They're designed to be fringe characters.
do they give us stats for Luke, Leia, and all them in there? I don't remember.
They mention them, but I don't think they give them stats.
Yeah, I just
They have plot immunity.
Exactly. I'm just saying, within the books as they're written, you don't get that.
yeah. But,
And without that, you can't be as heroic. There will always be someone better than.
I get what you're saying, but like we could use
You're
the
saying, and you're
same
saying
argument.
exactly what I'm saying. You're just saying it in a different way. I'm saying with the books, in that setting of the books, you can't do it. That's what you're saying.
But in the books, they say ignore whatever you don't want to use. They say that in the book,
Right,
And
but there's only so
I don't want to argue about this anymore.
there's only so much you can ignore where it's not that.
This will be the first podcast I edit. I'm just saying.
You didn't edit out all the dead air and the icons.
It's still in there.
Is it?
I get what you're saying. I just
Damn lazy.
so
Just
in
take
our
all
current
that.
Forgotten Realms game, I'm going off of the
Terrible
book
podcast
where
editor.
very clearly
I don't have time
they
for that
list
shit.
and they stat out tons of people who've
I don't think
sculpted
still
that
on my
world,
weekend.
who have
No, you
blown up
fucking
Death
don't.
Stars, who have like raised Mistra. You like, and granted, some people don't know the realms, and
No,
he
was
knows
the
the
first
realms. Okay,
podcast, too, because
he
that
might
was
be
that
like,
big
"Ah,
gap
you know,
there."
you haven't mentioned this big thing, but everybody's none the wiser. Granted, yes.
Right, but that's exactly the point. I don't know it. He doesn't know it. So it doesn't exist.
But it does exist.
No, it doesn't. I've never heard of it.
But then you can't just say, well, it does exist for Star Wars because
Have you seen Star Wars?
I have.
Have you seen Star
Oh,
Wars?
yeah.
Have you
Yes,
seen Star
it's
Wars?
more
Have you-
cultural.
Exactly. So we know exactly. I actually caught it.
We've all seen,
Nice
we all
catch.
know the basics of just Cliff's concept, and just go.
Am I
with
going
it.
crazy? I'm trying.
No, I get what you're saying.
Okay.
Because that's, like I said, for a long time I ran, using the realms as an example, I ran the realms that way. Like, at first I just like, okay, the realms is cool and I'm going to run a game, and then my players are like, well, let's go get Elminster's help, or what's Driss doing? And I'm like, no, forget them, you're the heroes. Like, but we want to see. And finally I was like, okay, they don't exist. And then they still kept asking, like, fine, it's going to be homebrew from here on out.
And I don't know. Like,
Right, but so then they got the chance to become heroic.
Right.
Just take Luke, Leia, and Han.
And I didn't use any of the...
Oh fuck!
You still end up
Why didn't I think of that?
But that's what I'm saying. You still end
I
up
just wanna
having
play a
Vader
game.
in there, and you just.
But then who's gonna beat Vader? Like, none of the stats can make a character that can beat Vader.
that's not true.
Oh, yeah,
It's
you can. They're,
like.
they're just numbers.
Thank you.
At this point, we're just saying, okay. So, because
just
then it
wanna play a
eliminates the
game.
fact of, oh,
Yeah, I really
The-
want to fuck this
the-
troll up.
the Emperor and Darth Vader want to change Luke over. Well, at that point, Vader's that you
I love
find.
how he's so passionate. That's the good
you
thing
fi-
about it.
But that's
All right, so I'm gonna
So
shoot my
okay,
Uzi
I get
at
what
the
you're
troll.
saying there, but in essence,
Okay,
doesn't
I
that
like
just
where
make
you're
you Luke
going.
Skywalker?
So,
because then Vader
I still don't know what I'm rolling.
I
change over.
actually, after
He has
How do you know?
four,
Why
Because
wouldn't
he
he?
has the connection.
I'm going to
with,
add
Luke
3.
anyway, because you're not his descendant. Wasn't that the whole purpose?
Okay, so where in the
Alright,
books
we
does
can
that?
stop.
Alright, so I got a
But
6.
that's not. I didn't read
Alright,
any
so
of
that's
that.
a 9.
I'm
That's
just saying
my
story
point.
concept.
But that's my point. In the
I think he's
books,
dead.
in the
Yes,
books,
yes.
bear that in mind. In the
Well, I
books,
will- I
in
run
the
up
game,
to
as
that
given to you,
place.
Okay,
you
you're gonna
do
second
not
Alright,
So I
don't,
get
have that
6 of
option.
these.
They sort of give it
don't
to you. They
forget
say,
to
"Oh,
thank the
ignore
guy,
what you
'cause we gotta
want,"
get him alive for
Oh,
the money.
that's right.
Yeah, one of them has to be alive.
So I do
but
get
then
2
you're
shots.
changing
technically.
the universe.
Changing
Was
the
it
concept
6s?
of-
I actually don't know
You're
what
just
you
changing.
need to these
and I
people.
get it. You want to still have.
All right. Well,
Lucas's
I got
concept
a
what
12
happened in the movies
and.
and have us like.
No, no, I don't.
That probably
No, I don't.
You know what?
I'm sure that is.
All I'm saying is, as given to you, as written, that doesn't really become a real option until you change it.
But what is it? Is it the storytelling side or the mechanics?
What mechanic
It's
is stopping
the universe.
Why am I bothering?
You're not understanding me.
That is very clear.
All I'm saying is, in the books, as given to you as a set, it shouldn't be that you have to go, oh, well, wipe all this away so you can be heroic.
Still hate it.
I disagree.
I hate
I don't
it.
want to deal with this. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying there is. Like,
Okay, what do you have to change if you're... Okay, and you talk about your example of the Forgotten Realms.
Mm-hmm.
You eliminated all of them. Does, like... Actually, I'm sure there are world-changing events that
Oh,
didn't happen.
easily.
But how many of your players knew about it?
That's fine, but there's also a suspension of disbelief. We are all level 1 farmers. If I come up to a rust monster, yeah, the players know. But if we're all playing technically, someone's going to swing a sword at the rust monster, and then the knowledge of the rust monster is known. I'm just saying there is a suspension of disbelief. If you're playing a Star Wars game, I think it's a community type thing. If you're all going in saying, hey, we want to play Lucas's Star Wars, or hey, we don't want to play Lucas's Star Wars.
Oh, I agree there, but the fact that you had to say these people don't exist so that you can be more heroic, that's my point.
That's kind of what we did with.
I mean, well, no, I mean, like, in Forgotten Realms, you could still be heroic with the, named characters in there.
Oh, you
The
can
realms
be
are-
heroic,
the realms
and you
are
can
big
be
enough.
heroic even in these, but there will always be someone that
I
overshadows
mean, you could say that with almost anything, though.
Yeah, Superman was stronger than Batman, but he ended up finding us. Cliff just spun it a different one.
That would, I mean, but
That's
that's,
not a
Superman's
good
strength is
it's kind of what he
the
was.
speed of plot.
That would be what he would
Right.
have to do to make it work, because
So that's-
Batman brings us in, but Cliff also had to kill Green Lantern. He had to make the entire Justice League disappear and completely give up.
Yeah.
Right.
Every
And he
other
didn't
he-
even set it on the main DC universe proper, like the main world. It was like an Elseworlds or an off-world,
Yeah.
like another dimension
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
Which is what we would have to do for Star Wars, which isn't a... I'm just saying, I don't even care if that's what we do. I'm
Is
just
this a
saying that
D20?
as
Yeah.
as given,
Actually, this is the one that I've.
you don't really...
Did I burn this?
I was
one or this
saying
one?
is, even if we wanted to play those heroic type of
I like
characters,
to
or
see
do it
my
in a
fat.
completely different time or whatever, the rule set is based around you being, like the class
Being
design,
a
everything
secondary.
is
Right.
being a secondary fringe
Yeah.
character. So if you still wanted to play that hero, those rules wouldn't allow you to build that type of character.
You could, but it would be a longer journey, and it would be exactly like how they did it. You transition from Edge to Age to, not necessarily into Force and Destiny, but you would have to... It would be a longer journey. Definitely.
That's
Right.
kind of the concept behind Star Wars, and that's what we're trying to do with our broken up campaigns.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, as they give it to you, if you want a campaign of Edge, you're probably not gonna... I mean, not that you
Yeah,
can't have
you-
heroic moments.
you
Like, there
did-
was heroic moments
You
in...
did say that. Like,
Yeah.
It is kind of harder to. You were even saying when it came to like if suppose me and Cliff wanted to do Jedi, you would have to those two books, those two transitions from Edge, Age, and then Force and Destiny. You would ultimately have to intertwine them.
Right.
So
Right.
And I'm not saying... Like, it's...
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's... For a system that's supposed to be interchangeable,
It's not.
it's not, in my eyes.
See,
Mhm.
we play so. I don't know. I disagree with you there, but I don't.
The rules aren't even the same.
No, the Edge and Age might be similar, but Force and Destiny is completely different.
Completely,
I
like,
get that, but I'm just saying mechanics, settings, and mechanics in my mind can be broken easily.
We do it. Yeah, we do it with D&D a lot too.
Yeah,
So-
and
Not sure. I mean,
now like this is a good example. Okay?
but there also becomes a work versus payoff type of thing. Like,
Exactly.
If you're the DM and you're doing all this work to rewrite Star Wars, you have to say, is it worth it to do all of this work, or do we just play another science fiction game?
I get what you're
Right,
saying.
because I honestly thought, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, we're not even gonna use those, I'll reskin it. I'll reskin Shadowrun, and then I was like, well, if I'm gonna do that, why don't we just play Shadowrun?
Right.
Why am I gonna do all that work to reskin something to
But
play?
What are you actually changing setting wise? To change the setting. Let's say we're playing The Rise of the Empire. Like, what would change mechanically?
That was just an offshoot idea I had.
Oh, okay.
That was just, but like I said, I don't have a problem with taking us outside of the films.
Mhm.
It's just that, like you all said, it's gonna be a lot of work for me to change pretty much every aspect of what we know about this universe, and I have to change pretty much everything.
Well, that's no different than creating from scratch what Justin does. Like, even what you did when we were in the, what was your campaign? The zombie apocalypse one.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you started that from scratch. Like,
Yeah.
and those are the best ones that we've played, though. Because sticking to, like, okay, if you want to duplicate, like, Dan could have thrown in any time and
Right.
just said, here you go, here's
I love
the
this game.
typical,
We're playing The Walking Dead. Yeah.
Right, but
Yeah.
there's a certain, I could be wrong, there's a certain feel we're all looking for from these games. I have to make sure that, and I didn't get that feeling.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
That's
there.
that's my biggest complaint. I didn't get that feeling.
And I think you would be much happier running a game where you know the themes that you want to work with, the heroic journey and all that, and you found a game that was more suited to that in a science fiction type of setting, or whatever type of setting you want to
Right.
use. I mean, I don't care if it's fantasy, superhero, science fiction, international espionage,
'Cause-
whatever.
Even changing the worlds in D&D, you still go on a heroic journey.
Mm.
If I start you out in Edge, you're in Edge, and I can start you out in Edge, and I don't want to have to run something where I feel like, and and it comes down again to the module. It was the module that made it feel like it wasn't Star Wars to me, because
Right.
it was very intimidation intensive and not very, like, I don't know, I just couldn't
At
get
that point, it would
The
be.
window was open.
really, I've been
It's
sweating
because we're
all
sitting in the
day.
kitchen.
I don't know.
I know
what it is,
earlier
but
the oven was
Jesus.
on. That was part of the problem.
Yeah,
I've been
sorry.
sweating like a
So basically,
all
like, if
day.
we wanted to start an Edge and move from
It's December 13th.
being a fringe
I know,
character to
I
another
know.
type, we would basically have to remake an entirely new character when we switch to a different book, in essence.
it. Like
If they're the
To
same
some
book,
extent.
I just
I
I
don't know.
think I could work it where you keep the
one of
same
them
character
accidentally stuck on the
throughout.
oven. I think that one.
I mean, the character would still be the same, but on a mechanical level, would you have to completely rebuild it?
I don't think so. Like I would have to change the world to fit you rather than have you fit the world.
Wasn't that
Gotcha.
But that's, I mean,
But
and I
that
agree
was
with you.
kind-
That's
that's
exactly
what
what
he
I
had
do
done.
all the time.
Oh, I know,
He
but
took our first episode, or our first sit down, and he said, we went down, what was that list that you had us do? Dragons, do you want to,
right.
10
That's
Yeah.
why I want a session 0.
Yeah, exactly. And we had already talked about
And, like, and that's what I need to know. Like, I need to know what you guys are looking from Star Wars.
Stormtroopers, yes.
I can already tell you that a session 0 for Star Wars is going to be very, very heated.
Yeah.
No,
It sure is,
I know.
boy.
once we, because it'll be you telling me what you want, not what I'm trying to do. You tell me what you want, I'll run it. If you guys want Edge, I'll run Edge.
I want Death Star, but no Tarkin.
I'm going to learn Death Star, no Tarkin.
Would you like fries with that?
Side of X-Wing.
Yeah, can I get an order of TIE Fighters with that too?
Just that was sorry.
Hold the other end.
because he's eventually gonna have to do it with his Super one or your superhero one because
I'm using a completely separate setting from
Yeah,
anything
he's
published in comic books.
DC or all Marvel.
It's not Marvel, DC, or independent. It's a game world specifically made for
Yeah,
superheroes.
and at that point he's gonna have to create villains.
Right, but see, he went in knowing that.
Right.
You went in knowing you were going to have to create something different. I didn't. I went in thinking I was going to get a feel of Star Wars, and it just... Like,
just didn't
they
happen,
put out
yeah.
like 3 different modules, and I've read through them all, and I'm like, none of this feels like Star Wars.
Not all modules suck.
No,
Most of the Call of Cthulhu games I've run are modules. And like pretty much everything they put out
Yeah,
is
it
very
depends.
well written.
It depends on the game company. Like D&D modules typically kind of suck, you know. But you know, Pathfinder modules are supposed to be awesome. So, you know, that type of thing.
I don't know.
I think it stems from the fact that my expectations for it were
I like their board
high.
games.
No, they
that
were high.
publish books.
Like
Yeah.
I like,
Terrible.
This is a Star Wars game, and it's going to feel like Star Wars,
and it didn't. Like if you listen to it, like halfway through, I just start getting like dejected. Like this isn't what I wanted.
Yeah. And you know, the GM is part of the group and should be having just as much fun as everybody else. So
My wife also lives here.
I know, but the door just
Hello.
clicked up and she didn't come through.
Shane, we're having
Because of this.
so you missed some of the nerdiest fighting we've ever had. We're fighting over story and Star Wars.
We have
and how to
we're
best
arguing
capture
the
that in the
same
game.
point.
Yeah.
I was just
We actually haven't started playing again since everybody ate.
no. I was just
It's been
yeah.
about 2 hours.
Me and him have played a little bit, but we're like, we don't really know what we're doing.
Yeah, we killed the trolls and we captured the guys. So.
Well, they
But
explode
we've
if
really
they
been
die.
arguing about Star Wars.
Use your defensive grenades.
Defensive grenades.
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
And like I said, most of it was my expectations.
Mm.
And I felt like I didn't deliver because the game didn't deliver, and I was like, this isn't what I wanted. But with the Session Zero, like 90% of this will be cleared out. Like I said,
Oh no, I agree.
you tell me what you guys want to run, and it happens.
But see, there's gonna even be some, like the 18th or whatever, when I go see that movie. There's gonna be some of me gonna be like, oh, what about the what's his name Empire? You know what I mean? Like, they never showed up.
Well, good
You know what I
news,
mean?
because all of the stuff from the books and the comics and the games and everything,
Yeah.
all that was thrown out.
No, I know.
They said none of that exists anymore.
But to that point, that same mental like anguish that we're fighting over right now is going to happen in the movie theater, and I gotta deal with it and enjoy that movie.
I had less problem with them retconning stuff from the books and the games and all that than the actual trilogy.
I've read
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
care less about the prequel
Yeah,
trilogy.
very
Oh, yeah.
little. I've read very little of it, and so I know most of it comes from my movie knowledge. So I won't have the same struggle you guys all have. I'll just be able to accept. Okay, that happened.
I haven't read
It's a new
Star
Star Wars movie,
in
new
like 10
characters, new
years,
stuff
so
happening.
They have
Good.
lightsabers.
I'm
Yeah.
not really attached to.
There's a lightsaber yet
I
in Star
have
Wars.
because I've been trying to like
So
find the I've been searching, trying to get a grasp again ever since we played of what Star Wars felt like to me.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched the movies again, but I'm looking for anything that like rekindles that flame
Yeah.
because it snuffed it right out.
you want that one?
Yeah.
that one
Yeah.
version. And again, I think a lot of us didn't know the mechanics of it, so it definitely like really sunk me. and
Well,
Cliff.
that
but
always
the-
kind of slows down the initial
Right,
game.
and
First
that
time you're
was
trying
fine.
something, you
It's
know.
just that like
That's just to be
bullying a
expected.
shopkeeper didn't feel Star Warsy to me.
Yeah.
Like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon didn't do that crap. Like,
They tried.
they tried.
And
They
Sir
tried
Lancelot
so-
rode into Camelot and said, "No, I will not pay for this loaf of bread." You know.
I'd actually play that game. I'd play that setting.
But then their backup plan wasn't okay. Let's just beat the crap out of Watto and get what we need.
All right.
No, I was like, we're gonna.
But no, and I mean, I feel
No,
like
their backup plan was gambling.
Although, how funny would it have been in the movie if he said, "Your Jedi mind tricks don't work on me," and just cut him in half?
Cut his wings off. What?
Yeah.
Take what you want.
Take what you
Now,
want.
here's the one thing with that. Why did Obi-Wan cut the guy's arm off in the cantina scene?
Because he was trying to kill him.
I know he went after Luke, but why not just step in and say
He didn't kill him. He just cut his arm
Cut his
off.
arm off.
Because it was.
Why not just do like a mind trick or something and not maim the guy?
Yeah, like,
Because
That
Obi-Wan's
was
kind of a
kind of
dick.
lightsaber.
That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, that's really what it was. They showed actually what a lightsaber could do.
Yeah.
But
I love the robot chicken. Yeah. He's the architect.
Drawing arm anymore. We're gonna have to.
I can still draw and it's all squiggly and like you're fired.
he gets replaced, put on the Death
I'm
Star.
really sorry. I don't know why my friend is saying all that to you.
Yeah. It's very nice to meet you. My friend says he doesn't like you. I didn't say that.
I didn't say that either.
You don't even know us. You know what? That's fair. I'm Pig Nose and this is my friend Scott. You know?
But anyway, like I said, whatever world you guys want me to create, I'll try to create it for you.
In a world.
I don't know how successful I'll be, but I'll try to create it for you.
I want vampires in our Star Wars.
Okay, there's vampires in Star Wars.
Are there space dragons?
No, that's stupid.
Wait,
Fake dragon.
no, I'm thinking zombies. Or whatever
Ooh,
those things
space zombies.
were from the horror Star Wars book.
There was a
Whatever.
couple. You might not have liked them, but I
There was a
liked
horror Star Wars book?
There was
Troopers.
zombies.
I mean, why not?
They're
Yeah,
reanimated with the Force.
I never actually read it because I was like, no.
From the realm of bad fan fiction comes
Twilight in space.
the Jedi glitter in the sun.
I can see your midichlorians on your skin.
Yeah.
Yes, I want that to be my Star Wars.
No.
What book was it? I was like, that's way cooler than any scary thing Vader did. Where the one Sith is like, he's interrogating someone, but he's force holding his lightsaber turned on, and he has the guy backwards, and he's like, "Tell me," and he's like, "No," and he pushes him a little closer to the lightsaber, and in the end, he just runs him through the lightsaber through his neck. But it was done very well to be like, "You're not telling me," and he just pushes him like.
I think that's part of
Into
Fate
the
of the
car.
Jedi. One of the books in Fate of the Jedi.
And so
I'm reading that series right now, actually.
yeah, the guy had long hair, and he's like,
Maybe
his hair
not.
was falling off as it got closer to
Maybe
it.
not.
This is so cool.
Fate of the Jedi is just messed up. Basically one of the heads of the head of the Galactic Alliance. Well, the Jedi start freaking out, so she kind of sends in Mandalorians, and they send out this apprentice to talk to the guy, and they're like, "Ah, she'll be okay." Bam, just kills her right on the steps, and he's like, "Apparently, you don't understand what this is. Send them out now." And leaves her body on. Don't come out to get her body. Send the two crazy Jedi out, and just walks away. And I'm like, oh, guess
okay.
that didn't exactly turn out the way you thought it was gonna.
But so yeah, I think it will be fun. And the funny thing is,
That's the most important thing. As long as everybody enjoys it, like I don't care ultimately what we do to the world.
that's a lie.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm just saying in those books, as you're given, you can't really remove those pillars and play the same setting. But if that's the world you guys want, I don't care. I really don't care. I'll build the world from the ground up if I have time. If you want me to. I'm just saying, as we're given it, things are going to change. Like that, I have to change things, in my opinion, to make it as heroic as I want it to be. Or if you guys don't want, like, you guys go dark. I don't care.
I like heroic. I mean, I haven't played it in a while, but it's my favorite.
I haven't played it in a while,
Actually, Lord Batman was pretty heroic.
Yeah.
He was.
and I feel like
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring heroic back into.
And I'm trying to play my D&D characters heroic. I mean, I know the Vengeance Paladin can be dark and it's kind of built that way, but I'm not trying to play it that way.
Your Batman character was creepy to that.
Says the
Only
guy
to
who-
Lana Lang.
Yep.
But I'm trying to play the
Poor
campaign.
Lana Lang.
Are you watching me in the shower? Only to make sure you're safe. Why can't I see your hands? Why can't-
But I'm trying to play that campaign where you feel heroic too.
Don't worry, you'll get plenty of a taste of villainy and violence in my game.
That's great.
Because Because that's what you are. You're villains.
Oh, and that's what you're gonna. Okay.
Yeah.
You're villains and you have to play the hero.
Yeah.
Figure out
The premise-
concept for that.
The premise is that the Earth has been conquered by aliens who wiped out all of the world's heroes. But the thing they didn't know about was the people with powers who were in jail, the villains who were locked up. So now it falls on the villains to become the heroes and save the world. As the tagline in the book is, the fate of the world depends on the scum of the earth.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited about that one because
Yeah.
I can make a pretty nasty villain. I've made a pretty nasty hero.
Well, then it
He
gives
was a
people
hero.
options. Like, are you trying to become the hero on a redemption path? Are you trying to get the aliens out of the way to exact your plan? Are you, frightened by the idea that there's a bigger fish in the sea than you were because you thought you were top of the food chain? There's all sorts of different angles you can come at it with. And then what happens there kind of falls on you guys.
That would be kind of interesting. Put you guys in Black Sun.
Oh, what, Shadows of the Empire?
No, I mean in the actual organization of Black Sun.
That's the only thing I know that organization from is Shadows.
I don't even know what that one is.
They're basically space mafia.
Gotcha.
Actually, I thought that
At one point, they kind of rivaled the Empire for power, sort of. Well, one guy, kind of, sort of rivaled Palpatine, sort of, kind of.
I know there was the book,
Sort
but
of.
I really remember the game because it was on N6. It was like one of the first Nintendo 64
Yeah.
games that came out, and like the whole premise was that it was the Shadows of the Empire was like Black Sun was there and in the shadow, and they were building their strength up. And that I think was about as close as you could get to like what Edge of the Empire is trying to do.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're operating. Like that's where the main character in that game is a mercenary that they hire to track. I don't even know what they were looking for. They were trying. Oh, they were trying to get the second Death Star plans in that game. I think.
I want time travel. Just
Okay, you can have time travel, only forward.
But the Empire,
Yeah.
A second at a time.
All right. 1 second.
I also want both versions of Spock.
Set phasers to fun.
The universe implodes.
Yeah.
What? A Star Trek character, Star Wars. Oh.
Vulcan aren't in this. Only Jedi are. That's illogical.
I would love to. I would love to put that in the podcast and just. But nobody listens to it enough to be pissed off by it.
That's right.
What do you mean?
Because as a nerd, you can't possibly like two different things.
Han,
You know?
Chewie, get on the Enterprise. What?
I read Marvel and DC. You blasphemer!
I was gonna say,
Pick a team.
People are saying that
You made me
you
think
did, like Star Wars
Of the Binder of Shame story, where they were playing Warhammer Fantasy and the guy was drunk.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's just like, all right, and an elf appears. Yeah, how do you know he's an elf? He's got pointy ears and he's wearing a blue shirt. And then there's another guy with a gold shirt, and they've got the weapons are these weird plastic things. Where's the Enterprise?
Yeah, yeah.
What have you done?
Did they just take us aboard the Enterprise? What is this?
That's so
I instantly thought of you when I read the Cthulhu's Toilet one.
Oh God.
You have really outdone yourself, Psycho Dave.
Oh my God. I lost it when I read the part about. If you see stuff and you go crazy, you're just not manly. So.
Yeah.
You're just using manly points.
Yeah.
You're less manly if you have no sanity.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
It's not really how it works, and that's a little offensive. I like how that story ends with him being choked into unconsciousness. That also has one of my all-time favorite lines of intimidation. Of, I'm going to drop you like a wet taco. Yeah, it's horribly disgusting, but hilarious.
Oh man.
You have plenty of time to think of it.
Oh, I know. Well, I
Yeah.
can't think of anything until we have a session 0.
Yeah, we can throw that in at some point too.
Preferably, I would have wanted to have one, because we'll have it, and then 2 weeks I gotta have it built and running.
Yeah, that's gonna
Hey,
be a
welcome to regular scheduling.
We can throw it in at some point in the midst of his.
I mean, maybe we could do it like right before we know we're gonna have a break or something.
And the nice thing is, so like this is the team, this is the party, and session 0. This is what you got to worry about for session 1. You don't have to worry about all the other craziness.
Thanks. Now I can see what you were pointing at.
Right here. This is important. Take special note of this.
And I'm
Can
like,
you see this?
I'm
Look
like-
at it.
Well, we're not playing anymore, so I don't know why it's still up.
I'm
but the
holding.
point is, it was up, and you still.
And you still went
Yeah.
behind it.
I mean, like, it doesn't become transparent once the
Yeah.
game is over.
Yeah.
Game in.
Screen down.
Yeah.
Gene Roddenberry didn't think of that.
That's right.
Now I want to play Star Wars. It's funny, you're like, I don't want to play Star Wars, and I'm like, I want to play Star Wars even more.
Now I really want to play Star Wars.
I want Space Dwarves.
Wait,
They
what?
have those.
Yeah, I know.
Space Wars.
Jawas. Just kidding.
They actually stuck a drow in one of the books, sort of.
Me.
Sort of.
I like D&D and Star Wars.
It was a black-skinned Sith with silver hair.
Did he fight with two slightly curved lightsabers?
No, it was a female.
Okay.
There's no girls. It's
There are no girls in Star Wars.
Excuse me.
and I was reading the description. I'm like, oh,
What did we give up?
it's a drow.
It's
What time is it?
11:30.
Yeah.
It's what?
It's 9. It's like 9:15, and there's like 3 people we still have to catch.
Yeah.
I really do like Shadowrun. This is the first time I've ever played it.
Shadowrun's it can be fun, but only when you have the DM doing all the math for you.
Yeah, I like setting, sorta.
The
The
setting is what sells it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like we didn't really get into. Like you really didn't leave anywhere but the Barrens, and for the one, except for the one time
I'd
you
like to
kind
see
of
the
went out.
map of this.
Map of what?
Like, what's the Barrens? What's like?
Oh,
So you want to look in the back of the book, is what
oh,
you're saying?
Yeah.
so guys,
It's been so long since me and you talked about it. Like, when we actually set up my little mage guy. One time. I'm just curious.
That is the map of Seattle. Where's Redmond? Redmond Barrens, and then there's the Tacoma Barrens.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Here is the map of the continental U.S.
so this is what
Okay, so this is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we
California
gonna
Free
play
State.
this for the next hour?
we're no. But this sadly is not my original copy, and this is the newest one. But
That's the Elven
I'm gonna
homeland.
show you the
United
screwy stuff you used to.
Canadian
UCAS.
and-
United Canadian and American States.
Just,
It's scary that there's a
Lucas,
calculator
wow.
on
Confederated America.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
South
This
is
is what you're in
Brazil.
for.
Okay, and then everything over here was transitioned
Yes.
Player's
differently.
guide.
These are all like Native American lands. Like I said,
Age is
Mexico
12 to adult.
took a huge chunk.
Of Texas, that's like half of Texas
Yeah.
right there.
Where is the? Is this the gun attributes?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cost.
That's actually really cool.
Where is
What is
There's-
this?
What is what?
It actually took apart it.
Yeah, the
Still
Caribbean
Caribbean
League. Yeah.
It took a chunk. It took Miami.
They circumcised Florida,
Yes.
which is ironic because of all the Jews.
That's so funny.
There's an extensive, like in the beginning, history of everything that happened. Although, there's stuff that happened 4 years ago. And so it came to pass. It began in the late 1990s. Really?
Oops.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Actually, the one
is
thing in
this
there that I
written?
think is eerily similar is they have the Supreme Court ruling that basically said corporations are people.
1992. Wow.
And this is second edition.
Yeah.
What was the first edition?
89?
Yeah. I think so.
She's older than his third.
Well, because I was.
She's a year older than the first one was written.
Good lord.
I like making you guys feel old.
Shut up.
And this guy, like, I wish they had more of his artwork in the. I love Tim
That
Bradstreet's work in
Oh,
these
yeah.
books. He.
So we're good with the podcast. We can shut it off
Yeah.
after you guys-
Yeah,
could
go
have shut
for
it
it.
off like after lunch.
Lunch.
Dinner.
The podcast on this is going to be Shadowrun / Star Wars debate.
I say
Yeah.
divide it in two and say have the Star Wars debate.
Yeah.
Say,
I don't think anybody really needs to hear us eating. So.
Oh, everybody hears us eat every time they listen to a podcast. now.
Because you don't edit it.
I am too busy.
How hard is it to actually edit it?
Actually, annoying. It's very, very annoying.
So it's not hard. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I think I should make you mildly allergic to plastic.
Yeah.
Boy, what else would I do?
There's mildly allergic.
Yeah.
Like there's mechanics in there that involve. I've got a
Severe.
rash,
It
but
has a-
not much.
There-
Like
yeah, there-
There are.
oh yeah.
It has a
No, it's-
racism table.
Yeah.
But it's for, like, that's an optional thing where you can get, like, more money or more attribute points and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that.
Well, these older ones, like when you were flipping through that and saying like, oh, ha, ha, like I was flipping through it and it's like, oh, here's a seduction table. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you're trying to seduce someone,
Oh, I didn't
there's a
work
table
out.
for it.
That's what is that? The era of the functionality of tables.
Yeah, this is all table stuff.
Well, that-
This from. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. From this page to.
You should see the original Lord of the Rings role-playing game. The back
This
of the
page?
book, there's a chapter that's that thick.
That's all random encounters.
Every page, one side
oh my god.
of the page per is a critical hit table, depending on who you are, what weapon you're using, where it's going against, the body part,
Wait,
the
wait.
like.
Oh yeah, this has body part stuff.
Oh, this, yeah, they
if
have.
you're-
I don't.
When
I've
did
never
they
used
let-
the critical
but
hit tables
is it
in
more
this thing.
modern
Yeah.
that they started making things more
Here's the
free?
master encounter table, which tells you
Free
which
range,
encounter
or is
table
it
you're
something
rolling on
like
to
that?
roll your random
Something
encounter.
still
Right.
do it.
D&D didn't really change all that drastically.
No,
Not
this
as far
had
as
hit
numbers.
points. The idea behind it, they tried to make certain games like D&D sort of like I don't like the way D&D does hit points. You are perfectly fine until you're not.
Until you drop dead.
Yes, I don't like that. I don't think it's a great. It doesn't feel well.
And unfortunately, every time I've seen rules presented to do like injuries, it really just ends up grinding things down and
Yeah.
slowing things down.
Like this has the for hit
that's
table.
different.
Okay. And you can only take so many damage to your
That's
left, right arm,
weird.
leg until it becomes hard to use, then worthless, and then destroyed. I do like we've sort of messed around a little bit. I mean, this was the one thing that I wanted to bring in, and I got a resounding no to like. Okay, well, he slams down on your arm. You know what I mean? That's going to affect you. We can. It's harder to do in D&D than Dungeon World because Dungeon World you're affected no matter what.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that is the effect.
Right.
But that's more storytelling than mechanics driven.
right.
Oh my god.
You can just tell us. We believe you.
Yeah.
There's 3 different versions of the stupid combat mage, I'm now realizing. Because there's one that they did for 89 because it's signed 89.
Right.
There's one for 92. But this one also has another version where they're different. Like the skills and spells are different. What the hell?
We're doing the same artwork.
We're doing a
as
lot of
about it.
that.
Yes,
Oh,
it's the
yeah.
exact. And
It's
if I
funny.
could
They use
find,
artwork that
They
much
use
back in the day.
they use well
Oh, yeah.
even look at D&D books. They're pretty rough. Like
Yeah.
Like the old
oh no,
school
it's not going to be
stuff.
in this. 'cause
yeah, old
these-
school.
this
New
is
stuff
second
still used.
edition.
There's some I mean,
Like in the
they're
new-
also
in
the ones with the
5e.
most
Oh, I wish I
money.
had it.
You know what I mean?
wish I had brought it.
But it's funny because like that's in color.
But
I don't know. Is that entire book
if
in
you-
color?
No.
Yeah.
But if you look at them, there's very subtle differences where they're not exact.
Yeah.
So it's not it.
Would you say like the Ace and the Smuggler?
Yes, exactly.
Here we go again.
Except for it's not at all like that.
Was that like the code word or something?
What? No, but look
No,
it. See, like
his thing he was talking about last time is exactly what I was saying earlier. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
what? You lost me because I don't care.
Referring back to the argument that the Ace and the Smuggler in the Star Wars book were the exact same class, just with a different name slapped at the top.
Look, see, like his face is they're slightly
It sounded
different.
like espionage games.
I don't
Right.
know if it's
And
'cause
Justin was trying
he
to
doesn't
say
have
they
that
were
little
different, and I
dot.
was like, no, they're
Right.
actually
Like,
exactly the same.
and the
So they had
hand
to break the
position
books
isn't
open.
exact, but like it's
That's not what
Yeah.
started the entire.
No,
See,
no.
like,
we were
the
well
feet are
into
slightly
Yeah, we were rolling
Sleeve's
through it.
different. Yeah.
I didn't even see that. That's weird. Yeah, the artwork's slightly different.
The
Very,
panels
very
on the
slight,
side are different.
And that guy's got jaundice.
It's weird.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
this is funny in that there's 3 calculators that you can buy in the game.
Oh, you have to get the Casio calculator.
But they say
Nice.
there's calculator, which is like $2, and then there's scientific calculator.
And it's
which
only
is
maddening because
$15.
that guy
You're
can
an
resist
international
damage
spy.
better. Like this guy has better stats somehow.
God, I can't buy the
Less
scientific
essence.
calculator.
What kind of spy are you? Like a real one, or like I guess you're not James Bond.
No, you're
If
supposed
you
to
have
be
to worry
James
about a
Bond.
$15 calculator.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
No, this is the
If the
this
Queen's
is the
Secret
first
Service
edition
can
guy.
afford $15 for you.
Optional reality
All right.
rules. Customize
Gotcha.
your game to achieve any level of realism.
That was the first edition guy, the color one.
And that chick looks weird.
I'll have to look up the because I have the more modern ones, the ones that you hated. I'll have to pull them out and see if I can find like they even mimic some of the artwork. They probably don't.
No, because they switched to this guy whose art I hate.
I would like to
I
play a Cthulhu game.
Don't even consider it
That's
art.
why I actually thought we were playing a Cthulhu game.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I wish I could have
Yeah.
made it to the one.
When you go from this to this,
Wait, I didn't see it. Wow.
I think I could draw that almost. Probably not, but
I really like what the artwork for D&D's new books, the 5Ds.
Yeah.
Some of it is good. Some of it is pretty hysterical looking. Like the
It's all the same.
the
person
gnome
in these
bard
ones,
is
right?
the one that everybody hates.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't-
yeah.
Any gnomes? The tiny feet.
like, he had
Yeah.
to know somebody because they started throwing his like.
But
His arm looks funny.
It's because there's like no.
Which one are we looking at?
That one, whichever, or the one on this side. Like I don't like their artwork started going down, which is when I was like, oh well, they won't be in control of the company for too much longer,
Yeah.
and they weren't.
yeah. Now
Well,
the
they're nice.
Ghostbusters thing seems fun. Cthulhu, I would like to play.
I'm gonna
Star
try and
Wars,
run
I like.
that End of Worlds one once they come out with the Rise of the Machines or whatever, Revolt of the Machines.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I have the Alien one pre-ordered already. So
Well, I can definitely do Cthulhu one shots. I would like to do a longer game, to be honest. Of Cthulhu.
you could do it like how Cliff did for
Yeah.
a couple of weeks.
I would really like to do a longer one.
I
because-
know Cliff wants to run his made one.
Yeah, his one that he's working on.
Yeah, that would be fun to see. See, that's the other thing I've now come across though. Like, now there's smaller companies that are actually making their own. Like Worlds in Peril was.
Yeah,
One
like
of them.
Dungeon World Rules
Yeah.
in Peril. Yeah,
Everything's
the Apocalypse
crowdfunded.
system. Yeah.
Now that the internet's around, it's making it extremely easy for these small companies to do it.
Well, a
So,
lot
yeah,
of
like Kickstarter and
a
stuff.
lot
like
of
that.
the major games are run by small companies. Like Call of Cthulhu's been run by Chaosium since the 80s.
Yeah.
And they had to
But there's
crowdfund to
more
get the
of them-
7th
But there's
edition.
more of them more populated now. I've been saying like there's more, even if you think along the lines of like card games of like Cards Against Humanity. When that
Oh,
first
yeah.
came
By the
out,
way, do you
that
want
was a
these?
very small
Oh, sure.
group of guys that just came up with that. There's
But,
a more recent weird one called Exploding Kittens.
Yeah.
Kittens?
There
Well,
was a game that my dad bought in the mid-90s called Unexploded Cow. And it was a card game, and the premise of the card game...